The 1970s was a decade full of bold style, unique inventions, and unforgettable home trends that defined everyday life across America. And if you step inside a typical American house from that era, you'd instantly notice a completely different world compared to today. A world filled with warm colors, bulky furniture, analog technology, and items that now feel almost unbelievable. Yet back then they were absolutely normal. And in this video, we're diving straight into 20 things every American home had in the 1970s. Not just objects, but symbols of a lifestyle that reflected comfort, family time, and a slower, more connected way of living. Starting with one of the most iconic features of the decade, shag carpeting. This wasn't just flooring, it was a statement, thick, fluffy, and often brightly colored in shades like orange, avocado green, or mustard yellow. Shag carpet covered entire rooms and sometimes even bathrooms. People loved how soft it felt under their feet, though cleaning it was a nightmare. And speaking of bold colors, avocado green and harvest gold appliances were everywhere. Refrigerators, ovens, dishwashers, all in these earthy tones that defined 70s kitchens. They weren't just appliances, they were part of the home's identity, and right next to those appliances, you'd almost always find wood-paneled walls, which gave homes a cozy cabin-like feel even in suburban neighborhoods. These dark wooden panels made rooms feel warm, but also a bit dim, creating that classic 70s atmosphere. And no living room was complete without a console television. These weren't the thin screens we have today. They were massive wooden boxes that looked like furniture, often sitting proudly as the centerpiece of the room. Families would gather around them every evening, watching shows together because there were only a few channels, making TV time more special and shared. And right beside that TV, you'd likely find a rotary dial telephone, a device that required patience. Every number had to be dialed by spinning the wheel and waiting for it to return. No speed dialing, no caller ID, just a simple connection to the outside world, often mounted on the wall in the kitchen with a long curly cord. And speaking of cords, homes were filled with them because everything was wired, from lamps to radios, and one of the most beloved items was the record player or stereo system. Music was a huge part of daily life, and people would carefully place vinyl records, listen to entire albums, and truly experience music rather than skipping through songs, often storing their collections in wooden cabinets nearby. And if you looked around the living room, you'd notice large, heavy furniture, couches with bold patterns, floral prints, or earthy tones, often paired with matching armchairs. These pieces were built to last and designed to stand out, sometimes covered in plastic to protect them from wear, especially in more formal homes. And right in the center of the room, you'd often find a coffee table filled with magazines, ashtrays, and maybe even a lava lamp. Another iconic item of the 70s, these mesmerizing lamps with flowing colored wax were both decorative and hypnotic, adding a groovy vibe to any space, and lighting in general was very unique, with hanging lamps, swag lights that draped from the ceiling, and dim, warm bulbs that created a relaxed atmosphere. Nothing too bright or harsh, everything felt calm and inviting. And moving into the kitchen again, you'd almost certainly find a microwave oven, which was becoming more common during the 70s. Though still considered a bit of a luxury, it represented the future of convenience, allowing families to heat food quickly in a way that felt revolutionary at the time. And alongside it, there were Tupperware containers stacked in cabinets. These plastic storage solutions were incredibly popular, often sold through home parties, and became a staple in keeping leftovers fresh. And if you opened the cabinets, you'd see patterned dishes and glassware, often with floral or geometric designs, reflecting the bold aesthetic of the decade. And another must-have item was the wall clock, usually large and easy to read, sometimes decorative, always ticking, a constant presence in the home, reminding everyone of time in a much more audible way than today's silent digital clocks. And in bedrooms, water beds were a surprising trend. These unusual beds filled with water were seen as modern and luxurious, offering a unique sleeping experience. Though they were heavy, sometimes leaky, and not exactly practical, but they perfectly captured the experimental spirit of the 70s, and closets were filled with clothes made of polyester, a fabric that dominated the decade, known for its durability and wrinkle resistance. It was used in everything from shirts to curtains, and speaking of curtains, homes often had thick drapes or patterned window coverings, sometimes layered with sheer panels adding to the overall design of the room while also controlling light. And another thing you couldn't miss was houseplants, lots of them, hanging plants, potted plants, greenery everywhere, bringing a touch of nature indoors and adding life to the space, often placed in macrame holders that hung from the ceiling. And bathrooms had their own unique style too, with colored fixtures, matching toilet seats, sinks, and bathtubs in shades like pink, green, or blue, along with fuzzy toilet seat covers and rugs, creating a coordinated look that feels very unusual today. And of course, no 70s home would be complete without board games. Families spent a lot of time together playing games in the living room, laughing, competing, and bonding in ways that didn't involve screens or the internet. And another small but important detail was the presence of ashtrays. Smoking was much more common back then, so ashtrays were placed in almost every room, often designed to match the home's decor. And finally, one of the most overlooked but essential items was the family photo album. Thick books filled with printed photos, capturing memories in a physical form, something you could hold, flip through, and share with others, unlike today's digital images that often stay hidden on devices. And when you put all these elements together, shag carpets, bold appliances, wood-paneled walls, console TVs, rotary phones, record players, heavy furniture, lava lamps, warm lighting, microwaves, Tupperware, patterned dishes, wall clocks, water beds, polyester fabrics, thick curtains, houseplants, colorful bathrooms, board games, ashtrays, and photo albums, you get a complete picture of what life felt like inside an American home in the 1970s. It was a time when homes were not just places to live, but spaces full of personality, comfort, and connection, where families spent more time together, where design choices were bold and unapologetic, and where even the simplest objects carried a sense of identity and culture. And while many of these items may seem outdated or even strange today, they represent a unique era that continues to fascinate and inspire people around the world, reminding us of how much has changed and how some things, like the importance of home and family, never really do. So if this nostalgic journey brought back memories or taught you something new, make sure to like this video, share it with others who love retro history, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing content just like this.